A world engulfed, setting the stage for global conflict. The world stood on a precipice in 1939. The horrors of the Great War, a mere 2 decades prior, lingered in the minds of many, yet the seeds of a new and even more devastating conflict were sown. Nationalistic fervor, fueled by economic hardship and political instability, gripped Europe. In Germany, Adolf Hitler's Nazi Party, espousing a toxic ideology of racial superiority, rose to power. Hitler's ambition, to establish a Third Reich spanning Europe, set in motion a chain of events that would plunge the world into war. His invasion of Poland on September 1, 1939, shattered the fragile peace, drawing Great Britain and France into the fray. The early years of the war were marked by stunning German victories. Hitler's Blitzkrieg, a lightning-fast form of mechanized warfare, overwhelmed his adversaries. Poland fell swiftly, followed by Denmark, Norway, and France. The speed and brutality of these conquests shocked the world. By June 1941, Hitler controlled much of continental Europe. He then made a fateful decision, one that would ultimately lead to his downfall: the invasion of the Soviet Union. Operation Barbarossa, as it was codenamed, was the largest military operation in human history, involving millions of men and stretching across thousands of miles. The Eastern Front, as this new theater of war became known, would prove to be the crucible where the fate of the world was forged. Stalingrad, a city of rubble, a symbol of resilience. Hitler's invasion of the Soviet Union began in June 1941. The Battle of Stalingrad became a brutal test of wills. The fighting was relentless, with heavy casualties on both sides. The Red Army defended their homeland with ferocity. The Normandy landings, a pivotal moment in World War II, marked the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. On June 6, 1944, known as D-Day, Allied forces launched one of the largest amphibious military assaults in history. This massive operation involved over 150,000 troops landing on the beaches of Normandy, France. The planning and execution of this operation were extraordinary, involving months of detailed preparation and the coordination of land, air, and sea forces. The Allies faced formidable German defenses, including concrete bunkers, barbed wire, and minefields. Despite these obstacles, the courage and determination of the Allied troops prevailed. They secured the beaches, and within weeks, over 2 million Allied soldiers had poured into Europe. The success of the Normandy landings opened a second front against the Axis powers and was crucial in weakening German forces, which were already stretched thin on the Eastern Front. This monumental event not only turned the tide of the war, but also marked the beginning of a campaign that would eventually lead to the liberation of Western Europe from Nazi occupation. In December 1944, Hitler launched a surprise offensive through the densely forested Ardennes region of Wallonia in Belgium, France, and Luxembourg. This major German offensive was aimed at splitting the Allied forces and capturing the vital Belgian port of Antwerp. The battle that ensued is famously known as the Battle of the Bulge, due to the bulge it created in the Allied front lines. Despite initial successes and the harsh winter conditions, the Allies eventually contained and then repelled the German forces, marking a turning point in the Western Front. As the war in the Pacific escalated, American forces implemented the strategy of island hopping, aiming to capture key islands and use them as bases to launch further operations, inching closer to Japan. One of the most significant and bloodiest battles in this campaign was the Battle of Okinawa, which began in April 1945. The battle lasted 82 days and involved intense ground combat as well as fierce kamikaze attacks. This victory provided the Allies with a critical base for the planned invasion of Japan, which, however, would never come to pass due to the dropping of the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. As World War II drew to a close, the victorious Allied powers faced the daunting task of reshaping the world. This involved the establishment of the United Nations in 1945, aimed at fostering international cooperation and preventing future conflicts. The geopolitical